But we've got a killer lineup on stage here right now. You saw a Pioneer Award presentation earlier today to John Kovacic. One last congratulations for him today. We have 3 of the all-time 5 Pioneer Award winners on the board right now. Mark Roden wasn't able to be here because he's got to, produce some kind of regional baseball tournament that's going on this weekend. And we, of course, all send our best to Jeff as he continues his fight with cancer. But with the guys that we have here on the stage, we would love to kind of talk through, we've talked a lot over the last few hours here about how the industry has changed over the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. These guys have all been through those ebbs and flows of going from purely coaches video to in-venue video board productions to live streaming, and they've all been impacted throughout their careers in different ways by that. You know these guys, so I'm not going to really go through the trouble of introductions here, but at this point in your career, I guess how I want to open the conversation, we'll start with you, Rick. Just how different is your job today than from when the first time you walked onto campus at Michigan State?
My first message board was 7 light bulbs high by 95 light bulbs wide, and I'm talking 60-watt light bulbs like you buy at the store. Today, everything is out in cyberspace someplace, and I'm not even sure which way it's going or how it gets there to begin with. So it's literally night and day how the industry has changed. And the biggest thing that we've got to be ready for is what we don't even know about, because by tomorrow it's going to be here. So you have to be adaptable. You can't say, well, this is how we've always done it, because that's all changed.
John, how about you?
September 21st, 1988.
Wow.
And I got a phone call, and they said, hey, our equipment's here. Come and help us unload the truck. And we had unloaded Sony ED Beta cameras and tape decks. And I don't know how many people in the room even know what ED Beta is. Yeah, it's not a lot. It's more than that's surprising. And that was it. We went from there, and now we're shooting on memory cards and SD cards and micro SD cards. And I just looked at a glasses camera that's $160 and shoots 1080p, and it's got a button on the side to pause. And oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Yeah, it's changed a little bit.
Ken, how about you? You're kind of still in the coach's video realm, so you haven't
I
really
am still in
moved
coach's
too
video.
much, but how much has things changed for you?
Well, I started with 16mm film, splicing that at the tender age of 13. So I've seen film go to digital, actually to video, then to digital, and now we're exchanging it over the internet. So it's done well.
And don't let him kid you. He pioneered all the work in digital exchange for coaching video. So.
Yeah, that now Pac-12 Networks is doing this for live streaming, and they're all using that IP internet system that essentially you helped set up. I want to start a little bit loose here. I mean, we've all had our horror stories of things that have kind of gone wrong on productions that we've worked on or shows that we've done. I apologize for the mouth, but what's your biggest oh shit moment of your career, and how did you get through it? What's the war story that you tell when you try to get someone through maybe a stressful situation?
One I can remember was a couple years ago, the Midwest was having a cold streak. It was about 30 below. We couldn't get trucks even into the venues to use them. We were doing a hockey game. We got the truck to the venue, got it fired up, and I thought, okay, everything's fine. So I'm just kind of sitting inside. I'd been happy because I'd finally been able to send a high-def program signal from my hockey arena over to my control room at the basketball arena. So I'm going, hey, the day's made. I don't care what's happening with this broadcast. An hour before the show, I get a call. The truck had no tech manager. It was from the director. Hey, Rick, we can't get the uplink to go up. How are we going to do this major show? And it was like a Michigan State hockey game. It was huge. And I said, okay, let me think about this one for a minute. And basically what I was able to do was go from copper from the truck to the pedestal, fiber inside the hockey arena, to another fiber link that jumped over to our control room, that came back out to copper, that plugged into an encoder, that sent the signal to BTN in Chicago, who relayed it down to the Woodlands at Fox Central, and then got it to Fox Detroit. And this all took about 30 seconds because all we had to do was put in one patch cord. And I called them back in the truck and said, "It's there." And they go, "It is. How did you do that?" They said, "Oh, can we get audio too?" I said, "Yeah, can you embed the audio in this program signal you're sending me?" 10 seconds later, we had audio, and they went on the air through one of the most convoluted paths I've ever thought of. So that's probably the most recent oh shit moment. I mean, there are tons of them. They happen almost every day, but that's
Right.
one that we talked our way through and made it work.
Football season 1994 playing at Syracuse. We shot the game. We literally got it handed to us. It happens at the Carrier Dome. I was at Virginia Tech at the time. And I was shooting sideline wide, and I made the mistake of packing my tapes in my camera bag. And I walked down to the truck, and before I knew it, we were in a hurry to get out of there. Before I knew it, they had grabbed my camera case and thrown it on the truck. And I forgot to get the tapes out. Fortunately, my end zone guy had his tapes. Not like the coaches were going to accept that. We get on the bus, everybody's demoralized, we're starting to leave, and I realize I don't have any sideline tapes. This is like pre-cell phone, right? So I am in agony from just down the road from the Carrier Dome to the plane, all the way back to Roanoke, and 45 minutes on the bus back to Blacksburg before I ever can get on the phone to call the guy at Syracuse and ask him if he can, because the fastest way for me to get this material is to get the guy at Syracuse to send me a copy of his via courier. And I had it the next day at 11 o'clock in the morning, but I took a long time to live that one down. And after that, the first question I ask my camera guys when we get down by the locker room is, "Where are my cards?" And they immediately go in my pocket or in my briefcase, and they don't ever come out. So,
Lesson learned hard.
yes.
1996, UCLA versus USC, one of the big games of the year. Coach Bob Toledo asked, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're not going to show the highlight tape at the hotel like we normally do. He wants to show it right before the team leaves the locker room to go out on the field. Oh shit, that's a different workflow. We have to have a checklist, get our projector, get our screen, get it set up. We get everything out to the stadium, we get everything set up, and realize we don't have the highlight tape. At UCLA, we play at the Rose Bowl. That's 35 miles away from campus. In LA traffic, we had to go back to campus to get the highlight tape and get back, and we made it just as the team was coming back into the locker room to watch the video. So we made it.
Great.
That was a no shit moment, though.
Since you guys have some great experience in the industry and you've seen a lot of technology come and go, some really try to sell itself and maybe fail in some ways, but the cream has been rising to the top as far as technology is concerned. What do you kind of see as the immediate future as far as technology is concerned? When you go to these trade shows, what's making you roll your eyes because it's another game changer? Or what's something that you're really excited about that's coming down the pike that you really think could have a big impact on where this industry out here goes over the next maybe 5-10 years?
I see retirement.
That's the most exciting one, huh?
I'm very glad that a lot of this audience is really young, because I'm not far behind him.
And I may go first. So, what's out there that's impressive, I think, is the jump to 4K. Some of us that are a little older in the room remember the jump to HD, which we thought was huge. But now if we're going from 1,000 lines of resolution to 4,000 lines, that's going to be amazing if they can figure out the transmission so everybody at home can go out and buy a new 4K TV to watch it. 3D, in my opinion, didn't stand a chance because everybody had just finally gotten an HD TV in their second bathroom, and they weren't about to go spend another $5,000 on some new TV that you had to wear glasses for. So I don't think 3D stood a chance that way. But with 4K, all those HD sets that we bought 3, 4, 5 years ago are going to be wearing out, and you may need a new TV, so it may make sense to go to 4K. And once people, especially our bosses, start seeing the difference between high def and 4K, I think that's where we're going to see a big jump.
John, what do you think?
I think watching what's going on with these at-home broadcast productions, I think that's going to be really interesting. And with all of this move to IP transport, I don't think it's going to be inconceivable that we're going to have trucks in the cloud in a very relatively short period of time. It'd be amazing when these guys can sit on their couch with an iPad and work their truck positions. And I'm saying that partially facetiously, but the reality is we're really headed that way. That's really foreseeable stuff, and it'll be fun to see how we overcome some of the things like the delay, you know. But I know it's all going to be math, and it's all going to get worked out. So,
Ken?
Wow, in the coaching world, I mean, it was a big step going from standard def to high def, and we're still enjoying that. So, you know, what's next? I mean, are we going to be able to enjoy 4K? Am I going to be around for that? I don't know. But I think, you know, just waiting to see what 4K has in store for us, I think is going to be huge, especially for coaches. And, you know, being able to zoom in. Today with 1080, when we zoom in, there's a little artifacting going on. With 4K, are we going to lose that? You know, coaches do a lot of game plans and they zoom in on, you know, a foot placement, you know. So we'll see.
you know, the amazing thing with coaching video is we're already able to give them so much stuff that's just got a gee whiz factor. And it really, when you break it down and look at it, it's not even efficient to use it. There's too much.
Right.
So that's coaches are the ultimate shiny object guys, you know. And I'm watching people using drones, and Ken uses drones successfully. They like it, and I'm sitting back and I'm asking myself, what?
Illegally, I just found out.
Well, yeah, but you've always been a rule breaker. I can't justify drones to my coaches. They're like, I don't have enough time to watch the video I have now.
Right, right.
You know, so unless we start inventing the 28 and 30-hour day, they're already drinking Red Bull by the gallon, you know, so we're going to have to literally extend the day for them to be able to use everything we have the capability to provide.
Right, right.
Go to the trainers and get the IV. It works.
We don't have these guys for too long up here. Does anyone have a question? We've only got a couple of, maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
Ken
left
has
to
a
go.
wonderful singing voice.
Karaoke
That's not
requests.
true.
That's what we're taking now. Nope. All right. I've got to go in. You kind of alluded to this. There are a lot of young, fresh faces in the crowd as all of these digital networks and broadcast teams are emerging at all of these institutions. You always hear the story for people who've been in the industry. It's like, I walked up to a truck one day and asked, "Can I help?" And that's how I got into the TV industry. It's a totally different world now, and that's not really the way that you get into this. So what is your advice for someone who is new at Razorback Productions or is starting a productions at a mid-major school or Division II school or whatever it may be? For someone who's fresh getting in this industry, what's a piece of advice that you might have for them?
Walk up to the door of the truck and knock. I had a student 2 years ago, the senior PGA was in the Detroit area, and it was an NBC production, and he asked me, "Do you know anybody at NBC?" I said, "No, I don't, but just when you get there, walk up to the truck, be very polite, knock on the door and ask to talk to the ops manager or the tech manager. Tell them who you are and tell them you just kind of like to tour the truck and, kind of watch how they're setting up and what they're doing, and would that be okay with them?" Well, as it turned out, he got that opportunity, plus they were a utility short for the whole weekend, so he made about $1,000 just literally by knocking on the door of the truck. So the truck industry is kind of the top end of where everything is still going. I just saw a new 4K truck out at NAB, $7 million for the truck. I asked the owner, I said, "How long will this truck be on the road?" He said, "A maximum of 7 years before it's replaced." So, that's still kind of the top end. And if that's what you're shooting for, the easiest way is to go knock on the door. The same thing if you go to any TV station, knock on the door, ask for the engineer. They'll be more than happy to show you around. If you've got the time, free internships are a great way to get started. Most people in North America will take a free intern anytime they can get them. So you just have to be aggressive and get out there.
Put 2 words in your vocabulary: patience and passion. And patience, I mean that in terms of, and I encounter this a lot, I work with so many students now, this generation of student isn't as patient as past generations. You want to master things and move on really, really fast. But the reality is there's 1,000 repetitions to be great at something. So be patient enough to live that out. Do those repetitions. Be great at something before you go try to knock down the next thing. But be really great at it. And that's where the passion comes in, because that'll be the fuel that'll let you get that 1,000 repetitions and then move on to the next thing. And I'm gonna tell you that the one thing that I see in this business that hasn't changed over all the time I've been in it is if you don't love what we're doing, this is the worst job you can have. But if you love it, there's nothing better out there.
I usually ask students that come ask for a job if they're afraid of heights. You know, that's their only.
But now you got drones, so that's not even an issue anymore.
Now they don't operate them. But they have to go up on a 40-foot scissor lift, and gosh, I want to say in the early 90s, we had a kid go up and just panicked when he went up there. He was white-knuckled on the rail, and we had to lower it to get him down because he was panicked. He couldn't. He said he was all right with it. When he went up, I think a little bit of wind happened, and he just froze. So we had to manually bring him down, and that was kind of a scary moment.
Here's a true story, and this is actually kind of a cool story, happened this spring. You know, I've had students that say, well, I don't shoot end zone that much, I'm not up in the lifts that much, why do I have to get lift operator qualified and all this stuff? So one of my kids decided he was gonna go apply for a job at Disney World. He listed that he was lift operator qualified. They immediately offered him a job as a monorail operator. So I asked the question, why? And he said, they explained to me, because I proved I could be qualified on a piece of heavy equipment, I can be qualified to run a monorail. How cool is that? He's shooting practice, he gets a little card, he spends 4 hours in a qualification class, and now he can run a monorail at Disney World.
Makes you feel great about the monorails.
And by the way, I immediately checked the qualification date on my card. So.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap things up here. I really appreciate you guys coming up here. Ken Norris, 2012, Rick Church, 2014, and John Kovacic, 2015, Pioneer Award winners for SVG College Sports Center. Thanks very much, guys.